Good afternoon. Welcome to the daily update at the St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency. And as we said yesterday, this virus doesn't know anything about holidays, so we're here today on Easter, joined by Chairman Mark Kern and also Sam Behrman from the Health Department. Sam, I know you have some more numbers for us.
We do, and as we have done in the past couple days, our numbers have continued to go up. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining us on the briefing today on Easter Sunday. As our numbers have done in the past, the numbers that you will hear are for St. Clair County residents that have been tested, and we are at 845 that have been tested so far, with 179 that are positive, which is an increase of 13 from yesterday, and that includes 3 females in their 30s, a female in her 40s, 1 female in her 50s, 2 females in her 60s, 1 male in his 30s, 2 males in their 50s, 1 male in his 60s, and 2 males in their 80s. We are now at 592 negative test results, with 74 still pending, and we currently remain at 9 deaths. For state totals, we are at 100,735 that have been tested, 20,852 positive test results, which is an increase of 1,672 since yesterday. And we are at 720 deaths, which is an increase of 43 from yesterday. And as always, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family members who have lost loved ones to this virus, as well as the medical professionals that have taken care of those patients. Before I turn it over to Chairman Kern, I know a lot of us are still sheltering in place on this Easter Sunday, and I would like to remind everyone that even when you are in your home with those of your family members, still to remember to socially distance yourself if possible while in the home. It's always good to be able to put some space between you and someone else if it's possible while you're in the home. So now I will turn it over to Chairman Kern for his update.
Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you being here on Easter. We would like to wish everyone a happy Easter. And also, this week starts National Telecommunicator Week, which runs from April 12th to April 18th. And we would like to thank our telecommunicators who have really put forth a yeoman's effort during this time. They're always there, that we can count on them. And during this pandemic, they have been especially important to us, and we are indebted to them. So if you see a telecommunicator, if you know one, be sure to thank them, because they've really put forth a lot of effort during this time, and they will continue to do so. As you heard from Sam, the numbers continue to rise, so we shouldn't take our foot off the gas. We need to continue to do all those things that we've been doing to make this spread stop or be as minimal as possible. And remember to check on your friends, relatives, anyone that's out there, neighbors that may need something, may need a hand during this time. These are the times when those efforts really pay off and really do a lot of good for others. As always, we give the zip codes at this time, along with the COVID positives in those zip codes. Remember that any zip code that isn't stated in St. Clair County area means that they have not reached 5 COVID positive cases yet. So the first zip code is 62201. We have 7 cases. 62203. We have 6. We have a new zip code today, 62204. There are 6 cases in 62204. In 62206, we have 14. In 62207, we have 8. That is an increase of 1. In 62208, we have 13. In 62220, we have 8. In 62221, we have 19, which is an increase of 1. 62223, we have 15, which is an increase of 1. 62226, we have 27, which is an increase of 1. And 62258, we have 9. That is an increase of 1. And in 62269, we remain at 18. So your vigilance is paying off, but as you can see, we still have an increase out there in our community, so we've got to remain ever vigilant. Today we are joined on Easter Sunday by Pastor Kendall Granger. Pastor Granger is the pastor from New Life Community Church in East St. Louis. He is extremely active in our community, and I think has a good message for us today, and certainly a lot of of good advice for us during these tough times. Pastor, welcome.
Well, thank you, and I'm excited and glad to be here. Wish it was under better circumstances. However, we are here to continue our partnership with the county and how we can serve the community and provide the services needed. And so you all have been a great resource to be able to get information out and help us to continue to do what we need to do in our community.
How has your life changed as a pastor during COVID-19?
Well, I've been stretched. I've been stretched to grow. I consider it an opportunity to get outside of my comfort zone, and some things I had been putting off that we're going to get online a little bit more. We would do a main service and just slap something out there online. If somebody want to look at it. But now we've had to double down and really get smart. I am a people person. I love, my favorite time of the service is not necessarily during the sermon. It's after the sermon where you get a chance to hug and to touch and to listen and to talk to people. And I am missing that big time. But we have to do what we need to do to be safe, you know.
And when you're out in the public, when you came here today, you've got gloves on, you've got a mask on, you are, and you have elderly parents that you're taking care of. So what's your message for the community as to taking care of themselves in order to take care of others?
Right. Yeah, my message and my mindset is that everybody has the virus. Everybody has it. So I treat it that way so I can be very cautious and safe. And I don't want to be a carrier. I try to take care of my immune system. I try to do the right things. And so I may be one of those people who could come in contact with it and not have the symptoms and unaware give it to my mom or somebody. So we had to stay away from mom, and that's hurtful. Stay away from dad as much as I can, and just be distanced. And it's such a natural thing for me to see a member or somebody in the store and they want to, and sometimes you hurt some feelings. I had a cousin that wanted to, embrace, and I was like, no, we can't. And I think he got a little upset with me, and I was okay to be, I'll take that for now. We'll apologize and I'll buy a mistake later. But I want to be here when it's all over with, and I want my loved ones to be here when it's all over with, so I have to stay safe. I got a little grandbaby, and I'm her favorite, and so I have to stay clear. It's tough, man. It's tough.
So as a pastor, you officiate funerals. Tell us about that. Has to really be tough.
Yeah. Prior to the virus, our funeral service, we go all out, and we really try to make the family feel some closure and give them some tools to use to get through grief. And so we would sometimes have big funerals, 500, 600, 700 people there, and we would have people who accept Christ and lives have changed and come back and join church and all that. Now it is extremely difficult. Recently we had a longtime member who's 89 years old, had children and great-grandchildren and just many generations, and only 8 people could attend her funeral because they left space for me and for another minister. We had pallbearers who were like grandchildren who had to wait outside. And so I think funerals, how we do them has changed dramatically. And I think the problem we're going to run into is that long after this is over with, the residual effects of not having that closure or not being able to deal with that grief or that sense of regret. And so people who we feel need to be celebrated and have a great homegoing celebration are now just, can't be celebrated. So it's hard. Funerals are difficult.
But those celebrations will happen. And people can have hope that after this
memorial
subsides,
service,
that you'll be having those services and hopefully that will provide the closure that people need.
Yeah.
And speaking of providing what people need, I know that you are one of the major sources of food for the community. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about how you are providing groceries for the public?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we had a message. We did a sermon series not too long ago, and It was called Game On. It was the sermon series, and it's like put me in, coach. And so one of the things that we talked about is how we could serve the community. So in that message, we did a challenge. This was long before we even thought about a virus coming. We asked church members if they would just bring canned goods, and they would bring pasta. And so we had little cards with an item on there. And so if you got a card that said pasta, then you would go to the store and you get a case of pasta or two, whatever you could afford to do. And it was amazing. And so we got much more than we anticipated, and we had to create space for it. And then this happened, and all of that food, we're blowing through it right now. But I had no idea what God was doing then, that He was preparing us for now. So we have some food where we can feed a family of 4 or 3 or 4 for about a week. We did have some gift cards so they can go get meat, but we're not trying to give people an excuse to be in public. So we're trying to figure out an alternative on how they can get the meat, but they can come by the church. Right now we're taking orders over the phone. We're doing the registration over the phone so that when they come by, the bag is ready for them. The registration, all that stuff has been filled out, and so they can just get it with little to no contact, so we can keep them safe, keep our volunteers safe as well.
If people are looking to donate, Pastor, and they have food or wish to provide food to help other people out, can they contact New Life Community Church?
Yes, they can. New Life Community Church at newlifeestl.org. My email is pastor@newlifeestl, like eaststlouis.com. Our address, of course, is 1919 State Street, and that's right there in East St. Louis. And our phone number, I hope they'll get it out. We're going to kind of fast. 618-875-5989. And then, of course, we online and on Facebook and all that. You can contact us, and we have a system now that we're working, and so we can get it to the people. We can get it from the storage room or from the whatever to the people. So whatever you have, we're ready to get it to the people that need it.
That's great. So after we get through this, let's talk about a program we worked with you to provide a trailer, and let's talk about that a little bit so people know what's coming in the future.
And this is exciting. Well, with the county's help, we were able to design and build a brand new trailer that not only has a compartment where we can do some foods and all that, but we have a block party. We can. It's what my wife calls it. Vetta Granger, she calls it a pop-up block party. So when we have like little committees and communities that want to bring their communities together, they give us a call. The trailer can be pulled to that site. The bounce houses are blown up. We have the speakers for the PA system and the music. We got the games. We got all of that. They would have to furnish their own food because we don't have that kind of funds. But it'd be absolutely free. And we just pop up wherever they are, and they'll be able to get to know their neighbors. And we know that when you know your neighbor, when you have some connection with them, then you're looking out for each other. You're not getting into arguments and fights and silly stuff like that. You're able to protect each other, look out for each other, network, and get to know the people in your neighborhood. So it's a wonderful opportunity. We were looking forward to doing something really early with it, but when it's over with, it's still there. It's a resource that's going to last, I think, long after I'm gone. I think that trailer, that investment that you all put together will outlast us even, and so it'll be something that we can count on. And so it's pullable, so you don't have to have a motor. So if the motor breaks down, no, any truck can pull it, get it where it needs to go, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds like a great idea. And neighborhoods are key during this time. I mean, and I said it earlier, but people need to think about your neighbors. Maybe someone that doesn't come out of the house a whole lot. You can still check on them during this time and see if they need help or need any food. And I know that's outreach is a big part of what you do.
Yeah, and that's a huge part for what we do because we believe that we got to get outside of the walls of the church. And since there's nobody in the church, this is a classic example of that. And I think God allows some stuff to happen so that we can get out of our comfort zone and get into the community. And so we have to get creative. We have to get online. But in this small season, it's not like it's going to be forever. I know sometimes stuff like this can linger, and you think we're never going to come out of it. We will come out of it. This example is not the best example, but I believe it'll give you the picture of what I'm talking about. I remember being in junior high school and being in what I thought was love. And the young lady broke up with me for somebody else, and I was heartbroken. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I didn't think I was going to ever be happy again. And so I'm sitting here today, and I can't even remember her last name. So you get what I'm saying? But at that moment in time, it's never going to end. It's always going to be, no, this too shall pass. And I believe if we partner together and we go all in, and we isolate and we do the social distance, we do what we need to do, we'll come out of it sooner, right? And we'll have that fellowship that we want to so desperately have. So we just got to know that this is not forever. It's just for a few more months, maybe a month or two, however long it is. It's not going to be 10 years. It's not going to be 5 years. It's going to be over with. And it's going to be a memory, but we're going to remind people, remember what happened in 2020? But so just hang in there. It's going to be okay.
And so today's Easter. We have a message for, Passover was earlier in the week. Do we have a message for people that maybe, although that was a great message, it's going to be hard to top that. Although I'm not Wyvetter, she might not like that story as much as...
Right. A long time ago, right? Yeah, I think one thing that is how you view the whole thing. One thing that I know I'll say to pastors and churches and whoever is listening now, that this is not just a social issue. It's not just a spiritual issue. And it's not just an emotional issue. It's literally all three at the same time. And so I want you to imagine it being a stool, a three-legged stool. And you're going to need the social services. You're going to need the spiritual and the moral fiber. We're going to need that. And we're going to need the emotional and psychological support. But if you take either one of those legs away, that stool is going to fall. So our message is to be honest with yourself. Think about how you feel and be honest with those feelings. And don't try to just blow it off. I'm fine, I'm okay. If you feel some kind of way, you need to talk to someone. There's a lot of things you can do online. There's a lot of things you can do with professionals. We have to do that. Some people are getting stir crazy because they are been told to stay inside, and I'm in quarantine and all this. And so I look at it differently. I look at it a little differently because it's all about your perception. There's a story I remember I heard years ago about this young man who was at this park at the lake, and he was actually fishing. And the park ranger came to where he was and asked the young man, "What are you doing?" And the young man looked at him kind of crazy, like, I'm fishing. What do you mean? He says, "Did you read the sign right here?" He said, "Yeah, I read the sign." And so in frustration, the park ranger read the sign and said, "Private property, no fishing allowed." And the guy said, "That's not what that sign say." What? So the park ranger read it again. "Private property, no fishing allowed." He said, No, you're reading it wrong. Let me read it for you. Private property? No, fishing allowed. And so they were looking at the exact same sign and got two different messages. When instead of looking at it as a punishment, as a quarantine, I'm looking at it as consecration. This is an opportunity that God has given us to pull away from the world, to pull away from the hustle and bustle of every week. And I know I'm pretty busy throughout the week, and I would say, well, I'll get this done. If I get more time, I'll get this more. I got more time on my hands than I can handle it. And instead of me wasting it, just binge watching TV and eating, I can take this time to get closer to God. I'm praying more than I've ever prayed before. I'm spending more time in His Word. I finished a book called How to Get Through What You're Going Through. I'm going to look at learning how to speak Spanish. I'm just going to take this opportunity to get closer to God and do some soul searching and accomplish some things that I've been putting off. I think that's the message that we really want to get, that this is an opportunity. Don't look back a year from now and say, man, I wish I'd have taken more time in that downtime, because life is going to speed up again. And you're going to have the meetings, you're going to have the school, you're going to have the soccer, you're going to have the football, the bat. All this stuff is going to be happening again. And right now we have a moment while you're at home. Instead of being angry and restless, get busy getting closer to God. Get busy improving yourself. If you know you are a horrible speller, there's no reason you can't learn to spell 2 or 3 words a day. If you got children in your home, spend some time teaching them about finances and about anger and about relationships and about all the stuff that you was too busy to do before. We have an awesome opportunity to do some big things, and I'm going to challenge you that are listening to me now to do that. To ask yourself, how can I benefit from this? What can I do better? One last thing I will mention is, as a part of my little message, I guess you would say, is I know for some of us, having our children at home all day and all night and all day, and not having that break where they go to school, they go and come back, that can be very frustrating. For some of us, you are essential workers, so that means you're working, you're traveling, you're coming home, you have children and a mess and this and that. And it's so easy to get frustrated. It's so easy to get angry. So I want you to stop and ask yourself the question, why am I angry? You know what I found out? I think 3 reasons why we get angry. Sometimes we get angry because we're hurt. Sometimes we get angry because we're frustrated. Sometimes we're angry because we're insecure. And think about that. For most of the world right now, I'm frustrated because I can't do what I want to do. I have big plans. My wife and I, we planned a vacation. We didn't get a vacation last year, so we was gonna go big time this year. And right at the time for us to go on vacation, everything shut down. So that's frustrating. Sometimes you lose a loved one and you're hurt by it. You lose your job. Maybe you started a brand new business. You're about to turn that corner. You're about to get this thing going, and then the bottom falls out. Everybody's shut down. And that's very frustrating. You can be very angry. So you need to ask yourself the question, I'm upset. I'm feeling tension. Why? Why am I feeling this way? Okay? Now, once you understand you and why you're angry, the second question you need to ask yourself, okay, what do I want to see happen? I've seen people get angry with each other, and they're going back and forth. They're yelling and fussing. And I come in as a mediator and I say, okay, all right, I get it. You're both upset. So what do you want to see happen? Do you want them to apologize? You want them to die? You want their head to fall off? What do you want? And then, of course, they start laughing because they really hadn't thought about, what do I want to see happen? So if you go home and you're frustrated, before you take it out on your children, before you take it out on your significant other, before you take it out on your body and try to drink or this or that, ask yourself the question, why am I angry? And how can I resolve this anger? What do I want to see happen? How can I best get what I want? Because I've learned that fussing and ranting and raving, it doesn't change anything. I saw a guy a few months ago driving, and he was just driving along, and this guy just cut him off. And the guy that cut him off was wrong, was super wrong. But the guy that got cut off, he went to cussing and fussing and was spitting all over his windshield, and he was throwing up finger signs. Number one, it was the other finger sign. And I thought about that. I said, when he get through with all that fit he's having, the guy's still in front of him. It didn't change anything. And so, why am I upset? What do I want to see happen? And what's the best way I can get that? So when you're at home, love the kids, love each other, be patient. It's not personal. Children are being children. They spill milk, they drop stuff, they break stuff, they yell, they pick on each other. I would be concerned if they wasn't doing all that, okay? And so have some fun with them, get creative. You remember you're smarter than they are. Trick them. Make them think they're robots and clean the room up. Robots clean up the room, and they'll just be roboting all day, clean up the room and mopping floors. Trick them. Get them to do stuff that you want them to do and make them think it's their ideal and it's a game. Have some fun with your people in the house, and don't consider it a quarantine, but a consecration, an opportunity to get closer to God. So hopefully that helps. And we're here as a church, as a pastor, to do whatever we can to help out. So thank you, Chairman. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Pastor Granger, for you're a tremendous human being, and you got a great message. We're going to have to replay this a couple times just because there's so much that you said today.
Thank you so much.
Herb Simmons,
Boy, that's a hard act to follow.
you're going to have to follow it.
I'm going to tell you, I usually, for those of you who follow us know that I usually get to sit here and close out, and I've got some things to say, but after that message, I'm going to tell you, I've only got a couple things, and you really just touched the nerve, Pastor. I get frustrated every day because we're sitting here trying to tell people to stay home and to do just everything you said, in a very powerful message. So what I'm taking away from this today, and I'm going to leave you alone today, do what the pastor said. Yeah, get frustrated is okay. But then what I want you to do, what I've been trying to tell you to do is to stay home and stay alive.
Yes.
And I think that's the message.
Stay home, stay alive.
Stay home, stay alive. So powerful message. So we'll be back. I don't have nothing else to say today. You get a break today. We'll be back with Cindy and Daisy to translate this into our Spanish communities. And everybody, try to have the rest of a happy Easter. I know the word happy maybe doesn't fit into it, but it is Easter, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, 3:30 for our daily briefing. Thank you.